Alright, so now we start my first proper bicycle video in Copenhagen, believe it or not, my hometown. So I just had a meeting here at the zoo, the Copenhagen Zoo, and I'll be cycling on this old bicycle, which is not mine, the saddle is too low and so on, but that's the only one I have available. And we'll be setting off from this beautiful place called Cisternene. Below this field is actually a big underground water chamber called Cisternene, where I believe it was Carlsberg, the brewery. They kept their water supply underground here for the brewery, which was sort of down that way. Alright, so let's get going. My other hand has a glove because it's a bit cold. It's the 27th of December and we will it's about, I don't know, 4 degrees or something, and we'll make our way down the hill, which by Danish standards is a very big hill. So let's see how it goes. So we go down this brutal hill. So already now you can see that there's a very good demarcation for cycling. So I have my separate lane here. It's quite wide, even though we are out at the zoo, which is a bit out of town at the outskirts of Copenhagen. And in case you wonder where are the handbrakes, then this bicycle doesn't have any handbrakes. It only has a foot brake. So I can easily brake having hands-free here for the camera. So now we enter Amagerbrogade, which is the not Amagerbrogade, Vesterport, the West Bridge Street, literally translated. So this was the main entryway in the west direction of Copenhagen. And you will see we have bicycle paths almost on all streets. So this makes cycling very pleasant actually, and not so stressful as Kuala Lumpur. Off we go. Someone walking the dogs. So now we will be going straight towards the heart of Copenhagen, where I'm going to visit my brother. And we'll be passing by the City Hall Square. So here you can see the bicycle path is painted blue to alert crossing traffic that they have to look out for bicyclists. So this road actually has quite a bit of a construction now at the moment, so it's not really the best showcase, but look how they actually still take care of cyclists. So we get our own lane here, still completely separated from traffic. So I wonder what they're doing, but most likely they are widening the bicycle path for cyclists and narrowing the street for cars, because that's the way the development is going in Copenhagen. If it gets too congested, then no more cars. let's make the bicycle path wider, and that's how we are able to get much more people through. And of course bicycles take up much less space to park. Here you can see the bicycle lights turn first, so that means I get the right of way. So cars turning or buses turning, they will have to let the bicycles go first. A lot of accidents or fatal bicycle accidents happen when with this kind of turning, where the cars turn right in this case, because we ride in the right side of the street, and they don't realize that there's a bicycle that is coming and then gets squashed under the car. You can also see the bicycle path is wide enough to pass, so this is a good design, even though we are now facing the problem of bicycle jam on the bicycle paths. So we have to widen some of our bicycle paths these years. Copenhagen has quite an ambitious policy of trying to increase the ridership of cyclists, of people that commute by bicycle to work. At the moment it's at 52%, I think it is, and we want to increase that even further. By 2025, Copenhagen has to be carbon neutral. So transporting yourself by bicycle, the most efficient form of transport, is of course part of the picture. It also helps. Copenhagen is quite flat, so there's not a lot of hills. The hill I just came down is the biggest one in the vicinity of Copenhagen, I would say. Denmark is a very flat country. Our highest point in the country is actually the pillar of a bridge crossing between two islands. So our highest mountain, the Sky Mountain, is less than 200 meters tall. So that's not, by most standards, it's not really a mountain, but to us it is. So quite flat country, good for cycling in that respect, except it's also quite windy, so sometimes you just have this wind against you. Here's one of our famous sausage stands. A lot of people love these sausages as a little snack or as a light lunch. Speaking of the wind, we even had a politician promising that if he got elected, he would ensure there would be tailwind on the bicycle paths. Of course, this was a joke. He was actually a comedian, and he was elected into parliament, so against his own expectation. So now we are soon passing the central station, which will come up on our right, and the statue, or the monument here on the left in the middle of the street, the pillar standing up, is commemorating our constitution in, I think it's 1848. We went from being a monarchy to a democracy. And the hotel behind it is very famous. I think it's done by Arne Jacobsen, or at least it's furnished by him, a famous Danish designer. As we are going straight here, we will be passing by Tivoli. This is a famous amusement park, which is about 150 years old, and it's one of the top tourist sites in Copenhagen. It has very nice gardens, very nice rides. This is the main entrance here. Let's turn the camera a little bit. You can see. All right. And now we get down to the City Hall Square. There's a bit of construction. I think it's the metro, subway that's being constructed. And as we're standing here, this is the City Hall, the big tower on the right, and then the smaller tower on the left is Palace Hotel. So there's a fun story about the architect of the City Hall and the other architect they met. And the architect of Palace Hotel, the smaller building, he how was it? He didn't like, well, they basically didn't like each other's building, and he he said of the City Hall, why did you design a City Hall that looks like a dog shit? And the architect of the City Hall replied, well, I had to, because outside was a dog's asshole, referring to the entrance of the Palace Hotel. It's a bit difficult to see from here, but it does actually look a bit like a dog's asshole. So that was a little bit of a testy exchange. The statue there on the other side is Hans Christian Andersen, the famous fairy tale author. And on the right here is the Tivoli Gardens. So you can see it's different rides. For the first year, they actually keep the gardens open at night. Not at night, but in the winter. It's quite cold, so normally they've been closed in the winter, but now they try to increase business. And from the looks of it, it looks quite popular actually. So that's probably going to be a permanent thing. In any case, here you can see one of the rides, the flying carpet, as we call it. And these white bicycles here on the right are the city bikes. So they are a shared bicycle scheme. They are electric. And here's one of these very elegant cargo bikes. Look at this one, white one. It's called the Bullet. And I think it's electric. Let's see how they accelerate. There's at least one kid, maybe two kids inside the bicycle in front. You can see, wow. but an acceleration. So that definitely has an electric motor. So that's the way to ferry your kids. Get them in a cargo bike. It only has 2 wheels, and with an electric motor you can just shoot away. And that's really the future of urban transport, if you ask me. Even in hot countries where it's so warm that you perspire if you bicycle, but if you have this kind of electric motor assist, you can easily get around. This cargo bike in front, this red rider, is delivering a package, and I'm quite interested in getting exactly this bicycle. It's quite elegant. So this bus is running on natural gas, so quite environmentally friendly. Okay, so now we are getting closer to my brother's place. So now I'll snake back up to the City Hall and watch this street. This is really a great refurbishment, where you can see on the right side I mean, the sidewalk is really wide. The bicycle path, which I'm on now, is really wide, and then you have 1 lane of street. So this is really a fantastic prioritization of non-car traffic. This used to be a street with much more room for cars. Now it's all about pedestrians and cyclists, and it's become a one-way street because you can only go this way for the cars. You can see there's only 1 lane for that. So, and straight ahead is the City Hall, so it's actually a very central street. Quite interesting. Here's another sort of square that's been refurbished quite nicely. Alright. So now we get up to a street called Storm Street. And I'll turn down this one. Or maybe I'll go 1 more forward, yeah, I think so. Then turn in, yeah. Oops. So now you can see further up here, this is how the street used to look more like. So now we have 3 lanes of traffic actually. But it's an interesting example of how, as your city develops, it's not all about making more room for cars. It's been reversed a lot in Copenhagen. I think Copenhagen is actually the city in the world that has the most pedestrianized streets compared to overall street area. So basically streets where cars are no longer allowed, it's only for pedestrians. And this is one of the reasons why Copenhagen is one of the most livable cities in the world. It's all about getting the human scale. Alright, so now we are at the street where my brother lives. This is also an interesting street. It's a one-way street, except for bicycles, as you can see. So once again, it's to your advantage to be on a bicycle, because you don't have to make these big detours. You can basically go down almost every street. Let's see, it's one of these gates here. I think that was the one actually. Yeah, I think so. So I'll just make a U-turn. This is the one.